Hello and welcome back. You are listening to Fix the Funnel with GA Fix. That's GA Fix.
Great to be here.
I'm your host, and today on episode XX, we are diving into something that's basically a nightmare scenario for anyone in business. We're calling it the blueprint for precise GA4 tagging. But really, it's about all the hidden reasons your analytics might be, well, lying to you.
And lying is, it's a strong word, but in this case, it's honestly the right one. We think of data as this objective truth.
Cold, hard fact.
Exactly. But if the thing collecting the data, the tagging, is broken, then that truth is it's fiction.
Right. And I think when people hear tagging, their eyes just glaze over.
Oh, for sure.
That's a developer problem. That's for someone else to handle. But looking at this research, this is a C-suite issue. It's a revenue issue.
100%. I mean, if you can't trust the numbers on your dashboard, how are you supposed to steer the ship?
You can't.
Huh.
So to really set the stakes, I want to pull out this one story from our source material. I'm calling it the SaaS horror story because it perfectly paints the picture.
Oh, this one gave me anxiety just reading it.
Me too. So,
yeah.
Okay, picture this. You're a high-growth SaaS company. You've got it all, the cool office, the VC funding, the whole deal.
Mm-hmm.
You are pouring money into advertising. Your landing pages are converting.
Mm-hmm.
And the sales team, they're popping champagne because the CRM is it's showing this beautiful, steady climb in new signups.
The dream. Everything's firing on all cylinders.
On the surface, yes. But then the marketing director walks into that big monthly review meeting.
Okay.
They pull up Google Analytics 4 to show off the ROI and all that ad spend. They project the chart on the wall, and everyone's leaning in, expecting that classic hockey stick curve up and to the right, and nothing.
A flat line.
A complete flat line. GA4 shows 0 increase in signups. So now you've got this room full of executives staring at 2 different screens, telling 2 completely opposite stories. The CRM is saying, we're killing it, and GA4 is saying, is anyone even home?
And that is the moment where people's careers get really uncomfortable, because the first reaction isn't the tool is broken. It's
the marketing isn't working.
Exactly. Why aren't the ads converting? But they were converting. The analytics tool just had no idea.
It's like you're driving a Ferrari at 100 miles an hour, but your speedometer's just stuck at 0. You feel the speed, but you have no proof.
Or worse, you look at that broken speedometer, think you're standing still, and you stomp on the gas when you really should be hitting the brakes.
That's the real danger, isn't it? The decisions you make based on that bad data. That marketing director might have killed their best-performing campaign.
It happens all the time. Decisions on bad data are so much worse than decisions made on, no data at all.
Okay, so let's unpack this. How?
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
Yeah.
The source mentions a hidden culprit. It wasn't some, Google server glitch.
No, not at all. Google was working fine. The culprit was much closer to home. It was just a messy tagging setup, a simple mechanical failure.
So when we say mechanical failure, what does that actually mean? The user is clicking the button, the company's getting the lead. Where's the breakdown?
The breakdown is in the communication. So think of GA4 like a bucket waiting to catch rain.
Okay.
If you put a lid on the bucket or you put it in the garage, it doesn't matter how hard it's raining outside, the bucket's going to stay empty.
So the website was the lid.
The website was the lid. It never sent the signal. The source specifically points out that the site was either firing the wrong events, sending signals for things that didn't matter, or, and this is so common, important actions weren't tagged at all.
So the user clicks sign up now. The lead goes into the CRM, but the website never bothers to tap GA4 on the shoulder and say, hey, you might want to count this one.
Exactly. And that really brings us to the core of this whole thing. We have to understand what a tag actually is. I feel like people really overcomplicate it.
I agree. The analogy that jumped out to me was the human nervous system.
Ooh, I like that. Go on.
Well, if I touch a hot stove, my nerves fire a tag to my brain that says pain, heat, move. And my brain records that event.
Right.
But if I have nerve damage, I can put my hand right on that stove. The damage happens, my hand is burning, but my brain has no clue. The event occurred, but the recording system is totally oblivious.
That is a perfect analogy. The tag is that nerve impulse. The source defines them as just tiny signals. A user does action X and the tag fires signal Y. It's that simple.
So in a practical sense, what are those triggers?
It's anything that has value to the business. A user clicks add to cart, a tag should fire. They watch a product video, a tag should fire. They submit a form. Tag fires. These are the heartbeats of your website.
And when those nerves are damaged or crossed,
you
end up with a SaaS horror story.
You end up with an unreliable data set. And unreliable is the key word there, because once you lose trust in your data, that very expensive tool just becomes a paperweight.
Yeah, nobody logs in because the numbers are always wrong anyway,
You got it.
which, thankfully, brings us to the solution. The material today isn't just about the problem. It lays out what it calls a strong tagging plan. And I love that phrase. It implies intention, not just chaos.
Right. Most businesses treat their analytics like a junk drawer. They just throw everything in there and then get frustrated when they can't find anything.
That's so true.
A strong tagging plan is about deciding what goes in the drawer before you even start filling it.
So the source lists 4 key benefits to doing this, and I want to run through them because they're so powerful. First one, cutting noise from reports.
Absolutely crucial. We're all drowning in data. If you're tagging every single little thing, you end up seeing nothing. It's all just noise. This is about finding the signal.
Okay, second benefit, seeing real user behavior.
Yeah, this goes back to your nervous system analogy. You want a digital reflection that actually matches what people are doing in reality.
And number 3 is interesting. It's aligning the team on what each action means. This feels less technical and more cultural.
Oh, it's 100% cultural. I've been in those meetings. Marketing says a conversion is a form submission. Sales says a conversion is a signed contract. Finance says a conversion is money in the bank.
So everyone is using the same word but meaning 3 different things.
And they argue for an hour because they don't have a shared definition, a tagging plan that says this specific action, checkout complete, is what we all agree a conversion is.
Like a Tower of Babel in the boardroom.
Yeah.
Okay, and the 4th benefit. This is the one that really got me. Turning GA4 from simple data storage into a decision-making tool.
That's the whole game. That
Yeah.
is the aha moment. Most companies use GA4 like a scorecard. They look at it once a month to see if they won or lost. But a scorecard doesn't help you play better. A decision-making tool does. It lets you look at the data and say, because of this, we should do that. You can't do that if your data is just sitting in storage.
I love that. A scorecard versus a playbook.
Yeah.
So let's get into the blueprint. How do we build this playbook? The source has steps, but it feels like you really have to start with the foundation.
You do. And the foundation, maybe surprisingly, isn't about code at all. Step 1 is simply start with goals.
And this seems to be where so many people go wrong. The business owner says, just track everything.
Track everything is a trap. It's the worst answer you can give. The source is very clear. You have to step back and ask what actions actually matter, what pays the bills.
So things like signups, purchases, booking a demo, repeat visits.
Exactly. If it impacts your bottom line, it's a primary goal. If it's just a vanity metric, like how many people hovered over the logo,
Okay.
maybe that's a lower priority. You have to be ruthless.
Okay, so we've identified our goals. Let's say it's purchases. Step 2 in the blueprint is map one event to each goal. Now, this sounds easy, but I sense a trap.
The trap is naming conventions. It's the bane of every analyst's existence. You need a strict one-to-one relationship. This goal maps to this one event name.
The source uses the example of mapping a purchase to checkout complete. That's so clean. But in the real world, you see stuff like purchase final V2 now.
Oh, it's a mess. Or you'll have one person who calls it purchase made and another calls it transaction success. Now you have the exact same action showing up in 2 different rows in your reports.
And your revenue data is split in half, so it looks like you made less money.
Precisely. The source just hammers this point. Short, clear, consistent names always work best. Everyone on the team should be able to look at lead submit and know exactly what it means without a dictionary.
It's about being human readable. Okay, so we have the goal, we have the name. Step 3 is about adding detail. Useful parameters. But the warning here is nothing extra.
Right. Think of the event name like purchase as the headline. The parameters are the story. They add the context. So for a purchase, what was the product name? What was the price? What was the currency?
Those are obviously useful, but why the fear of extra data? Isn't more context always better?
Not always. First, there's a big privacy risk. You never, ever want to accidentally collect personally identifiable information, names, emails in your parameters.
Big trouble.
Huge trouble. But the second risk is just adding more noise. If you track the user's screen resolution and the exact millisecond of the click, are you really going to use that to make a better business decision?
Probably not, unless I'm specifically A/B testing something related to that.
There you go. If you're not actively using it for a decision, leave it out. Stick to the parameters that help you choose what to do next. Be a minimalist.
Got it. Okay, now step 4. And reading this, it feels like the hardest part, but also maybe the most important. hygiene.
Hygiene, yeah,
Okay.
data sanitation. It's about cleaning up the mess.
The source says to remove duplicates and redundant events. And this goes right back to that naming problem we talked about.
This is the invisible killer of so many marketing budgets. Let's say you have an old tag called purchase from 3 years ago. Then a new agency comes in and they set up a new tag called conversion. And both are firing on the thank you page.
So when a customer buys one thing,
GA4 records 2 purchases. It reports double the revenue.
wow,
So you look at your reports and think your return on ad spend is incredible. You double down, you pour more money in, but in reality, you might be losing money on every sale. You're making decisions based on a hallucination.
that is genuinely terrifying. And I imagine the cleanup involves some pretty awkward meetings. Hey boss, remember that record-breaking quarter? Turns out we just double counted.
I've been in those meetings. They're not fun, but they are so necessary. It's like data debt. If you ignore it, the interest just keeps compounding and it gets harder and harder to fix.
So the cleanup is just as important as the initial setup.
I'd argue it's more important. The logic is so simple. Less clutter leads to clearer insights. You need to be able to look at a number and trust it instantly.
There's a pro tip in the text that I think sums up this whole philosophy perfectly. It says, tracking many events doesn't create clarity. Tracking the right events does.
That's the golden rule right there.
But it feels counterintuitive, doesn't it? We all have this data FOMO, this fear of missing out. We think, what if I need to know that 6 months from now?
We're all data hoarders by nature. We think if we just collect every single digital crumb, some amazing insight will just magically appear from the pile. But it never works like that.
It's the difference between a library and just a giant pile of books.
That's it, exactly. You have to be a data architect, not a data hoarder. You're building a system, a structure that has to stand up to scrutiny.
Data architect. I like
Yeah.
that. It sounds way more important than guy who does the tags.
It should be. The responsibility is huge. If the architect gets the foundation wrong, the whole building collapses. Same thing here.
So let's bring this all home for everyone listening. We've heard the horror story. We have the 4-step blueprint. What's the very first thing they should do today?
The source is really direct about this. The first step is to run an audit.
Run an audit. That sounds big.
It doesn't have to be. It can start with a very simple comparison.
Yeah.
Open your GA4 in one window. Open your CRM, your payment processor, your database, whatever your source of truth is, in another window.
Okay.
And just look at the last 7 days. Does your CRM say you had 100 sales and GA4 says you had 98? You're probably fine. But if your CRM says 100 and GA4 says 12 or 200,
So you pull the emergency brake.
you stop everything. You have a major leak in your funnel, and you have to find it before you spend another dollar based on that bad data.
It's time to play detective in your own accounts. And I guess while that sounds scary, the feeling of actually fixing it and getting to that clarity must be incredible.
It is the best feeling when you finally get to the point where marketing says, we generated 50 qualified leads, and sales says, yes, we see exactly 50 qualified leads. All the tension just leaves the room.
You stop arguing about whose numbers are right.
And you start talking about how to get to 60. You start fighting the competition instead of fighting your own tools.
What a great way to put it. Well, this has been a massive deep dive. We went from that SaaS horror story
Yeah.
all the way to the nitty-gritty of data hygiene. It's really not just about code, is it? It's pure business strategy.
It's the absolute foundation. You can't build any of the cool, advanced stuff on top if this part is broken.
Absolutely. So, for everyone listening, take a hard look. Are your CRM and your GA4 telling the same story, or are they speaking different languages?
And maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. If you know your tagging is messy, are you making business decisions based on reality? Or are you just making them based on noise? Because right now, noise is a very, very expensive thing to base your business on.
The necessary and scary thought. Reality or noise? The choice is in the tagging. Thank you so much for breaking this all down today. This is a real eye-opener.
My pleasure. Always happy to fix the funnel.
And thank you all for listening to Fix the Funnel with GA Fix. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.
Goodbye, everyone.